Let me then go into something that came by the Christmas season. And obviously, many people will be asking about Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14, correlating to Matthew 1:23. But one of the critical things that is raised is that this refers to the virgin birth. And then there is a reference to the lineage of Joseph with an attempt to attach that to Jesus, to the Davidic lineage. How do you see this, where if there is a lineage, does that mean there is no virgin birth? If there's virgin birth, there is no lineage, and you can't have both of them? And how do you actually ascertain Jewish lineage in the first place? Because at the end of the day, if Jesus is born of a virgin supernaturally, would he then be viewed as somebody who has a lineage to David?
You're asking a question that's so plain that people frequently miss it. The church initially does not adopt the notion that Jesus was born of a virgin. We could see that from the earliest writings chronologically in the New Testament. So Paul either didn't think it was important enough to mention that Jesus was supernaturally conceived, or really a lot more likely, he didn't know anything about a virgin birth. The earliest gospel, Mark, also doesn't mention a virgin birth, in truth, because neither the author of Mark nor Paul believed that Jesus was born of a virgin. We only have two books in the Christian Bible, written rather late in the first century, probably around 85, Matthew and Luke, that mention a virgin birth. And the virgin birth is necessary because as the Christian religion is moving into the Gentile arena even more and more, it adopts more and more ideas from the Greco-Roman world that surround it rather than any possible Jewish origin. When Matthew adopts the idea that Jesus was born to a virgin, and we have an infancy narrative in Matthew 1 and 2, what he does by claiming that Jesus was born to a virgin disqualifies him completely from being the Messiah. Because in order to be the Messiah, you have to come from the house of David. Your genealogy is identified by your father's house. Numbers chapter 1. Really, all over the place. That's why in the genealogy, it's men that matter, even in the genealogy found in both Matthew 1 and Luke 3. Your tribe identity is passed on in a patrilineal column. Mothers don't matter in this regard. So by claiming that Jesus lacked a human Jewish father, it raises staggering problems. Number one, he can't trace his genealogy back to King David. Can't, because the genealogy that we are served up in Matthew chapter 1, essentially the first 16 verses of the book of Matthew, is the genealogy of Joseph, not the genealogy of Jesus. Because Jesus was born to a virgin, then Joseph wasn't his father and could not convey the Davidic house. So whatever you want to think of the genealogy we find in Matthew chapter 1, and it's very problematic for other reasons that are beyond the scope of your question. It's really problematic. It's been played with in ways that are very striking. But what is germane is that we are told by Matthew that this is the genealogy of Joseph, and Joseph was not the father of Jesus. Joseph's genealogy then is not relevant. That is a huge deal. That's massive. And that's what happens. You get into trouble when you play more and more, when you inculcate ideas, pagan ideas, the idea that the mother of God or the mother of the Savior could not have conceived through a natural means, which is widely known in the Greco-Roman world and beyond. It's everywhere. But the moment you do that, you just utterly sabotage any claim to messiahship. And then why give us the genealogy of Joseph? And what is the opening passage of the entire New Testament? This is the genealogy of Jesus Christ, son of David, son of Abraham. And then it proceeds to give us a genealogy of Joseph rather than Jesus. So it's completely, utterly irrelevant. The genealogy is also heavily doctored. This is beyond the scope of your question, but it's heavily doctored, meaning names are extracted, are deleted, because the author of the book of Matthew, we don't know who wrote it, and if people say they know, they don't know, but whoever wrote it extracted a whole bunch of names so that you can have 3 sets of 14. I write about this in volume 2 of Let's Get Biblical. So therefore, the genealogy is irrelevant. There is no prophecy about the Messiah being born of a virgin. Isaiah chapter 7:14 was completely molested. I don't know of another way to say it. These are not mistakes. That's what I want people to understand. Matthew did not misconstrue what it says in Isaiah. These were deliberate shenanigans. That means the Hebrew text was altered. It's not just the word virgin isn't there, rather the word Alma is there. The articles were changed, the name of the person or people who are to call him Emmanuel, all changed. It's ripped out of context, but what we find in Matthew is scandalous. Luke is also very troubling, but in a different way.